Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning, early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, America's kick-ass coach and psychologist. Here with some words for us to ponder during the course of the day, see how they fit for us and what we might want to do with them. So today we have a card from the Wild Offering deck by Tosha Silver. It's been a Tosha Silver week. We've had the Wild Offering deck twice and we've had Outrageous Opens once. So apparently the being in flow, trusting the divine kind of theme is carrying out this week. So before we hit today's card, which the colors match what I'm wearing, we called each other this morning to get this organized. Let's just take a couple of nice deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. I'm actually just starting to warm up. It is brisk out there this morning. I think it's 41 degrees. Had a sweatshirt on, but there was a breeze and it was chilly, quite invigorating. And there's this little slice of moon out there that's absolutely beautiful. And Diane had sent me a picture earlier. Good morning, Susie. Glad you're here. Of the moon on her way to work. It was really cool. You could see the whole shape of the moon, but you could also see the lit up crescent. So very pretty. So our card for today is enjoyment. And it has some red clover at the top, which always smells so good. Enjoyment. So settling in, kind of opening up your intuitive ear to hear what aspect of this you're meant to take away for today. Enjoyment. Striving and pushing makes life into endless hard work. Striving and pushing makes life into endless hard work. The more you're inviting love to take over, the more enjoyment comes. Allow me to enjoy this life, dear Lord. Allow me to enjoy this life. So, there's that old saw, I don't know what brilliant individual said it, but that we make life burdensome through our attitude, through our beliefs. And we've been talking about beliefs this week. Remember we talked about, good morning, Deb, welcome, welcome. Remember we talked about the ABCs of emotion? This is another example of that. Striving and pushing makes life into endless hard work. We have control over that. We have control over our choices with regard to how we view life and work, etc. So I tend to be one who's gotten very wound up in the doing, and have really worked diligently the last several years to step more into being, to allowing things, to not push to make things happen, not cramming that square peg in the round hole, but allowing. Okay, if this is meant to unfold, it will unfold in divine right timing and divine right order. I just need to show up, do the steps as they're shown to me, take those steps, and allow the unfolding. And what I've found in the last couple of years is things unfold eloquently, brilliantly, simply, not always easily, but simply, and it's much less convoluted than when I kept trying to make things happen. Well, this should go here, and this should work like this, and this should, and he should do this, and she should do that, and not so good. On the other hand, allowing that divine feminine approach that we've been working on for several years now, right? The divine feminine approach, being receptive, being open, allowing things to unfold. Yes, yes, yes. Deb says, same here, my last year trying for more patience and less worrying. Yes. And we can, how do I want to say this? Kind of slide into that. There's this CD that I listened to over and over and over when I was going for my Mary Kay car, and there was a point in there where she said, you get up in the morning and you do. She said, I want you to take some time just to be and be aware of who you are and why you are going after what you're going after and what's important to you, what's most important. Because for a lot of us, our lives get chewed up with minutia. You know, this thing throws itself in front of us, so we deal with that. And then this thing throws itself in front of us, so we deal with that. And pretty soon we've dealt with none of the things that were important yet quiet. We've dealt with all this crap. So we want to make time for pure enjoyment, for the just being. So while the dog was pacing around out there this morning trying to decide the exact blade of grass that he needed to shit on, I was there watching the moon, having a conversation internally with the moon. And that made a huge difference in the walk. Feeling the brisk air, actually enjoying that it felt like fall. Welcome to whomever else has joined us here. I see we're up to 3. Yeah, I know what you're laughing about there. So, but that's just how he is. So, releasing the striving and the pushing, and I have to make this happen. Yesterday, this was when I was doing my journaling in the morning. I attempt to do, yes, dog owners do get that description. I attempt to do 3 pages each day. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, but that's the goal, is 3 pages a day. Because by the time I get to that 3rd page, all of the have-tos are out of the way. They're on the page, and my brain can open up into that receptive place of what ideas. I was just reading Elizabeth Gilbert last night, Big Magic, and she talks in there about ideas being sentient. She doesn't use that word, but that they are alive and they have thought and they're out there and they're wandering around looking for the human that they can attach to, who's going to then manifest those ideas. And she talked about a novel that the idea came knocking and she started working on it, and then some health issues came up and some other kinds of issues, and she set that idea aside, and that idea went knocking somewhere else to a newfound friend of hers, and they had this surreal conversation about the friend saying, well, I'm doing this novel based on the Amazon, and Liz Gilbert saying, oh, I had started one of those a couple years ago. The gist of mine was blah, blah, blah. And the other woman went, you're kidding. The gist of mine is blah, blah, blah. That idea that ideas are out there looking for the ideal person who can make them manifest now. All right. And if we don't get on with it when we're given the gift of an idea, if we don't nurture it and feed it and give it time and dedication, etc., it moves on to find somebody who's more ready. I think that's part of what happens sometimes when people with an idea get pissed off at each other because, 3 people in 3 disparate places who don't even know each other come up with the same idea at the same time and put it forth and then accuse each other of plagiarism. But I think maybe what happened there is the idea dropped into 3 people at the same time. How cool is that? How cool is that? It's kind of the idea hedging its bets, making sure that, if I aim for 3 of them, 1 of them will probably produce it. In that particular case, 3 of them produced it, and then there was the little nitpicking about whose idea was it. And again, if we look at it from that perspective, we're the vessel, we're the recipient, we're the messenger of that idea. We don't own that idea any more than we really truly own land. Kind of hilarious, we put up all these fences and this is my property and blah, blah, blah. 500 years from now, it ain't gonna be your property. And really, it never was. We're borrowing space in the universe. We're borrowing space in the universe. We need to be taking much better care of the space that we've been borrowing, but we're essentially borrowing space. Can we be good stewards for that space when we borrow it? That was a little riff. Anyway, card for today is enjoyment. Enjoyment. I love those little clovers. That is just, it's a happy little flower, right? Some would probably consider it a weed. I think it's fabulous. The pollinators enjoy them. It's all good. The more you're inviting love to take over, the more enjoyment comes. The more you're inviting love to take over, the more enjoyment comes. And I have this card that I wrote down, and I've been pondering it for quite some time now. And it's one of those things that make you go, Be deeply involved in life, but not attached, by Ram Dass. Be deeply involved in life, but not attached. And I would hazard a guess that Ram Dass would have said that this wasn't his idea. It came to rest within him and then came forth to be presented. Good morning, Beth. Good morning, Beth. Glad you're here. Be deeply involved in life, but not attached. Does that make you go, huh? It kind of makes me go, huh? Okay, so what's the difference between involvement and attachment? So I've been messing with this, right? So, and in fact, when I'm less attached to something, I'm finding I can be more involved because I'm not holding my part of myself in separate to kind of cope with however this thing's unfolding. When I'm not attached, I can be fully present. It can unfold more completely. I'm involved. Kind of cool, huh? So, back to our word for today, enjoyment. So what are you going to do that creates enjoyment today? And I did use the word do there, but do could also be, I'm going to take an hour and just sit on the porch and listen to the birds. Or I'm going to go for a drive to the river and I'm going to sit there and watch the water go past. Or I'm going to write today. I feel like writing today. There's an idea, coming home to roost. Deb says decluttering is the theme of the week. What I would recommend, highly recommend that you do is put an intention out there in clearing whatever clutter, a closet, this room, emptying this box. In doing that, my intention is I'm also clearing within myself X. So in clearing the kitchen counter, I am also clearing my fear. In clearing the closet, I'm also clearing all that's hidden. All that's hidden. Make an intention for each part of your clearing process and see what happens. See what happens. It's often pretty cool. Attachment versus being. Yes. So you can, for me, my hands are one of the places that I can tell if I'm doing attachment or if I'm merely being present and attentive. My hands feel tight when I have an attachment going, when I'm trying to make something happen, when I'm trying to strive and push, as today's card says. So what about for you? Where in your body do you feel the difference between being fully present and involved versus being attached? Where in your body do you feel that? Some might feel it in their throat, some might feel it in their jaw, some might feel it in their arms. Where do you feel it? Pay attention to that. That's a huge, helpful sign that we're crossing the line into attachment again. All right? So your practice for today is enjoyment. Enjoyment of any kind. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're doing nothing, enjoyment can be a part of whatever it is you're doing. All right? Have an awesome day. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are. Today, Mel, we were talking about enjoyment. I hope you enjoy it. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.